The F1 crew travels to Marina Bay, Singapore to attack the famed Grand Prix Street Circuit. This circuit is as dangerous as beautiful, while the drivers have to be wary of the walls that surround both sides of the track at all times, while soaking in the beautiful nightlife scenery of Marina Bay. While not much in the way of elevation, there's 23 turns on this 3.147-mile layout that will keep the drivers on their toes every single lap. Alright, you're going to finish your lap with a double apex left-hander, and then that's going to put you on pit straight to start your lap. This is a DRS straightaway, but it's not very long, so you're going to have a really good run if you want to set up a passing opportunity going into turn 1. Get on the brakes. You're going to go left, right, left through turns 1, 2, and 3. Very tricky zone right here that could present more dangerous opportunities than actual passing opportunities. Coming off through, you're going to floor it. There's a little bend to the left that's turn 4, but you're going to go flat out. Don't get distracted by the Ferris wheel as you go into the braking zone for turn 5, and then you stomp on it. There's a little bend to the right that's turn 6, but you floor it right through, and this is a long DRS straightaway that can set up passing opportunities here into turn 7. Get on the brakes, you go to the left, you're going to get on it for a little bit of a short shoot. Again, on the brakes again, off to the right. Now this is tricky, you're going to have to bend to the right because there is a blind left-hander coming up from this little short shoot. Now, you have a bit of a straightaway here to build up some speed and possibly set up another passing opportunity. Get on the brakes and you're going to swing to the left. Now, you're going to hug the left side of the wall because now there's a blind right-hander coming up again. You're going to swing back to the left. You're going to go over the bridge. This is one of the most dangerous parts of the track as you're heavy on the brakes for the hairpin. Now, this is not a DRS straightaway, but it is pretty long, so slipstream can play a factor. You're looking to get a nice, long, fast run, then medium on the brakes for this right-hander. It's a short shoot. It's going to bend to the left that you floor it through, and then onto the brakes because you have a right and then a left. You're going to have a short shoot, and now another tricky part of the track as you get heavy on the brakes. You're going to cut left under the grandstands. Back to the right, a short shoot. One more time to the right, to the left. That's turns 20 and 21. You're going to have a short shoot here, which also has the entrance pit lane on it. But then the double apex left-handers, 22 and 23, that's going to take you back on the pit straight, and that is a lap around the Marina Bay Street Circuit. League, in honor of F1 in schools, is proud to present the Vortex Racing's ERace Drivers Roster, featuring the PRL's European PS4 F1 Series drivers. Red Bull Racing, your defending Division 1 champion Decky and Smithy. Mercedes AMG Petronas Motorsports, Michael and Killer Blue. Scuderia Ferrari, Neo, and F1 Racer. Sahara Force India F1 team, Max and Yai. Scuderia Toro Rosso, Harry and Lee Findley. Williams Martini Racing, Gary and Spine. Renault Sports Formula One team, Falcon and V5. Haas F1 team, Lewis and Ohm. McLaren F1 team, Mishemery and Jari. Sauber F1 team, Riku and Kalik. And that is your starting lineup for today's presentation of Vortex Racing ERace. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special presentation from the Precision Racing Leagues. Today's presentation is for a special event regarding F1 in School. F1 in Schools is this competition that goes worldwide that promotes engineering, teamwork, and building factions. Every year, they'll select the top teams from around the world to compete in a world championship. In 2018, this world championship is going to happen in September in Singapore, actually 2 nights before the Singapore Grand Prix. One of the teams that made the cut for the final 50 is presenting this race tonight. That is Vortex Racing. The Precision Racing League gives just absolute nothing but love and hope and respect for Vortex Racing for putting on this show tonight, and wish them the best of luck in just a couple months when they compete in Singapore. Also, the drivers are giving a big thank you out to Vortex Racing. This special ERace event tonight will come with a €50 PSN gift card to the winner, so we do have high stakes. Now, as for tonight, I am your host, Hootius. Out there in Twitch land, you know me as Old Man Hoot. For those familiar with the channel who have been here a lot, you're looking at the roster on the left. There is a lot of new names. The reason being, this is the Precision Racing League. This is not the American F1 crew. This is the European F1 crew we have tonight. We have most of their Division 1, a couple select drivers for Division 2 filling out the 18-car field. Now, we've jumped in pretty late into qualifying. Most of the drivers have gotten their first round of laps in. They're going out for their second. So let's go ahead and recap. Up top, Mitch is currently sitting P1. P2, we talked about in the driver introduction. Your defending champion. He claimed the title last week. Decky. He's in the pits. See if he gets a fresh set of tires to try to make one more run at it. Michael sitting third. Got Lewis in fourth. Actually, we have a gaggle down one of the DRS straights right now. This might work out. This is the outlap. However, if they stay in this formation, this could work out with Lewis if he can get some extra pull down the straightaways, especially down the DRS zones. Overall, right now, we've had 16 drivers turn in a lap. All are within 2.5 seconds of each other right now on this very, very tight track, and we still have 2 drivers needing to put out a lap. Matter of fact, Maxi in the Force India is exiting right now. He will have time to put in a lap. Harry just came back into the pits, so I'm assuming his lap got invalidated. Getting the tires on, he's going out one more time. Now, we stopped at Lewis, so let's go through the rest of the field right now. Falcon currently sitting P5. Lee Finley in 6th. Neo in 7th. Riku in 8th. Spine in 9th, with Smithy rounding out the current top 10. So we have 3/4 of the field either out on the track on a hot lap or on an out lap preparing to do another hot lap right now. So this can get really, really mixed up here. We see Smithy. There he goes. Launching off of turn 21. Through 22 and 23 on the front stretch, this is Smithy's hot lap. Driving for the Red Bull. Let's sneak back up top real quick. All right. Decky just exited the pits. He's on an out lap. And there we go. Michael as well. So Mitch has already been out there. We'll keep an eye on our current pole sitter. We'll see if he's able to improve on his time. Right now, Mitch holds the pole by just 5/100ths of a second over Decky. So he definitely wants to put down a better lap. Give himself some breathing room. Oh, there we go. I was wondering if that was going to happen or not. So, actually, no, that wasn't a wreck. We saw him retire. Spine was trying to get out for one more lap, and then he realized it was too late. He was not going to be able to do an out lap in time, so he is retired. Kalik has called it. Kalik back in 16th place right now. We're going to see the sector yellow start popping up a bunch now because drivers are going to start slowing down in different areas, letting a driver by, getting set up for their hot lap. So we won't pay too much attention and try to jump around through that. All right, and as Mitch crossed the line, he did not improve. Though he looks like he's going for another round. Decky has started his lap. Or excuse me, now Decky's starting his lap. All right, Lewis just came out of turn 3. Oh, and there we go. Back from the field. The Renault of Falcon has just jumped up to P1. Wow, by 3/100ths of a second over Mitch. Here we go. The countdown is now up. So drivers can finish their laps. However, no new laps can be started. All right, Yai in 12th place crossed the line. He is done. He cannot improve better than 12th. We've had 3 drivers retire. Falcon just retired, but he wasn't going to be able to put in another lap anyway. Mish going through Sector 2. Keep an eye on our top 3 right now. We'll see if we have any more surprises pop up like with Falcon. All right, here we go, Mish. Coming off the final turns. On the front stretch, can he take the pole back? Yes, he can with a great lap. This time he'll jump Falcon by almost 0.2 of a second. Here we go, Lewis next across the line. And he will stay put. He did not improve on his time. Now it's up to Decky. Decky, your defending champion, did it. On his final lap, he jumps up to P1. He clips Mitch by, 15/1000ths of a second. Razor thin. Everybody else starting to cross the line. Now, Riku, he just jumped up on his final lap. As a matter of fact, Harry just jumped up as well. So Harry jumped up to P3. We see Rico move up to P5. And there we go. Qualifying is now over. Wait for the official leaderboard to pop up. So Decky, your champion. He's going to start out on pole. We talked about just 0.14 of a second over Mitch. Harry, Falcon, and Lee Finley are going to round out your top 5. Rico, Lewis, Michael, Neo, and Yari are going to round out your top 10. Now, everybody from 11th on back are going to start on a fresh pair of tires of their choosing. So we have Smithy, Gary, Spine, V5, Killer Blue, Yai, Kalik, and Maxi. Maxi being the only driver not to put in a time tonight. So while Maxi is going to give up a lot of time early, being the last car in the field here at Singapore, not the worst thing that happened because Singapore is tight, it's dangerous, especially in the rain. This is a whole new ball game now, folks. It looks like, I don't know, that's pretty good. We'll see once the cars get on the track if it's full wets or intermediates, but this is going to be nuts. All right, well, actually, we've just got an update in the chat. Full wets the whole race. Sandman, I am the Matrix. Come on now. All right, drivers getting their fuel. At this point, really, tire strategy is more so pitting when you need the tires. All right, and the lights are out. We're going to jump back to fit. Oh, actually, my apologies, folks. The American side, we don't run the parade lap because it can cause glitches sometimes. So that caught me a little bit off guard. The guys are going around for their formation lap now. We actually have Mitch DC'd at the moment. He's got time to get back in, unless he's just on the start menu right now and his car is ghosting out. What I'm surprised at, though, is what we've seen in the past is when you qualify in one condition and then race on the other, normally this formation lap, we'll see drivers go a little bit hard, try to get the bearings about them, trying to see just exactly where the track has changed the most from their setup. Odoms, I saw you and I saw K-Dog talking about full wets. That's why I discredited it. Yes, and Odoms is part of the reason, too, that we banned formation laps, because he likes to do 30 miles an hour around 3-mile tracks. All right, it looks like Mitch is all set back up again. We got the field coming around. Got about another, I would guess about another minute, and then everybody should be gridded up. And then we're going to hop in on the action. And then what we're going to do is, for the lights going out, we're going to hop on Lee. We customarily pick the 5th place car. We're going to jump on the pod. And he is going to take us through the first set of turns and all the craziness that'll happen. All right, the drivers are almost there. Going around the bay section. Twitch, thank you so much for the cheer. Very much appreciated. All right, here we go. The drivers are now entering the front stretch again. They're going to go ahead and get gridded up. We're going to jump on the Toro Rosso of Lee, and he is going to take us through the start of this race. Almost there. We've got the Force India in the back now. Everybody's looking good. And this is going to begin the light sequence once everybody's synced up. And lights are out. Jumping on Lee. A lot of tire spin as expected here in these very, very wet conditions. Decky with a good start. Mitch holding second as they go through turn 1. Hari has to go a little bit wide. Mitch pitched him out of there a little bit. Mitch looking on the inside of Decky now. Decky's going to have the preferred line going into turn 5. Falcon and Harry side by side. Looking at 3 wide. There's contact with Mitch on the outside. That's going to put Harry into second. Falcon's going to hold third right now, but he's got Lee looking at him. And Mitch just dropped like a rock from second place to last. Tough break for the number 2 qualifier. There we go. Falcon's able to hold off Finley for now. Decky gets that little bit of a lead, and he's trying to make it the most of it right now. About a second and a half as we've got a gaggle going on in the back here. Tons of spray getting kicked up by these cars. Singapore is already hard enough for these drivers. All right, let me know if you have the game sound now. All right, here we go. Oh, just a little bit of contact. Michael was looking at the inside of Lee. He got pinched off into the wall. Looked like tire bounce, though. The wing stayed intact there at the hairpin. The hairpin, the trickiest corner on this street course. But it's one of the best passing opportunities, so that won't be... Oh! Ricky, right behind Manko, had a little bit of wheel spin on acceleration. Was able to hold it, though, and fend off Neo for now. Neo taking another peek. Can't quite get it. Riku's gonna hold the spot for now. Starting the attack on Michael again as they go underneath the grandstands through the Bay Area. We're gonna move back up through the field real quick. We see Falcon on the back of Harry, trying to keep Decky in check. Almost a 2-second lead now for Decky, your defending champion for the European Division 1. Trying to jump out to an early lead, dictate the pace of this race. Everybody's nose to tail behind him. All right, and through that craziness, now Mitch has worked his way back up to 14th now. So he has gotten around a handful of guys, and Kalik is our bidder. So we see the Sauber had to change wings, unfortunately, so that's going to put him behind. Mitch now trying to work on Killer Blue. McLaren looking at the Mercedes in front of him. See, behind Jari's sitting in 10th place. Behind him, everybody is within a second delta of one another, so it's just a giant gaggle back there. And with all the spray getting kicked up from these rear tires, if you're in the middle of that, that's very, very hard to see. Now, we have to give a shout-out to Maxi right now. Currently, Maxi is the hard charger of the race. Did not do a qualifying lap, started last. Like I mentioned, though, if you have that patience on that first lap and you start last, you can avoid some carnage. He is able to do that. He's moved up +7. Just outside the top 10, trying to chase down Yari right now. go back up front. So Decky actually lost a couple tenths. Harry has been able to bring it back down to about a second and a half. Harry's also pulled away from Falcon a little bit. He's got about a second of breathing room, and Lewis is all over the rear of Falcon. We're going to have a battle out between a Haas and a Renault for the third step of the podium. Lee in fifth place, starting to fall back a little bit over a second gap. Has almost 2 seconds on Michael, who is still trying to defend against Riku now. Neo has joined the battle, Spine right behind him as well. We're going to jump on board with the Haas now. We'll look and see what Lewis is seeing right now as he's trying to chase down Falcon. Coming off the final set of turns, onto the front stretch. And actually, your second place, Harry, right now, just set the fastest lap of the race. So he's trying to chase down Decky. Through the first 3 turns, not really passing opportunity. Now, because of these wet conditions, there's going to be no DRS at all, so if Lewis wants to make a good attempt at Falcon, he's going to need a strong run here off of turn 5. Try to lead into turn 7, but Falcon was stronger than Lewis on that time. You see the Renault pulling away by a couple car lengths. So definitely no overtake opportunity happening yet. Michael at 6, still continuing to fall back from the lead. Still has Riku on his tail. Neo now in the battle as those 3 cars, as another famous commentator, Gamer Jones, would say, throw a blanket on him. It's so tight. Here we go. Riku's looking on the inside. Michael's got full clearance. Riku tucks back in. We're going to jump on with the Sauber as he attacks the Mercedes. Coming up to the hairpin once we cross the bridge. Little bit of wheel spin on acceleration. We saw the counter steer. Rico qualified 6th, trying to get his starting position back now. The field's starting to spread out a little bit. Mitch trying to work his way back up from his number 2 qualifying spot. He's now working on Smithy for 12th place. Hop on board the McLaren as they go into the base section underneath the grandstands. As we are on just lap 4 of 31. This is already the longest race of the season. We've got a Sector 2 yellow. And that's going to be Kalick, unfortunately. He had issues early and had to change the wing, and it looks like he lost the rear end in the hairpin. So that's going to set him even further behind. Jump back with Mitch as he's trying to attack Smithy. Nothing happened on the front stretch or turns 1, 2, or 3. See if he can make anything happen here at a turn 5 going down the DRS straight. When I was mentioning, this is already the longest race of the season as is, and now the guys are slower because of these wet conditions, so got a bit of a mini endurance race going on for these guys right now. Not really used to races of this length. You do a 50% race, it normally can run you around 45, 50 minutes. We're looking at probably over an hour in these conditions. Alright, we have a request. We're going to hop on with Michael because he is falling farther and further back behind Lee. If he has wing damage, I'm trying to look at that right end plate. See if we can get anything off the TV. What kind of angle is this? If he has wing damage, it has to be minor. I'm not really seeing any pieces missing. Remember, Michael did have contact. Oh, that is huge. Harry, in second place right now, just received a 5-second stop-and-go penalty for exceeding track limits. Now, right before the bay, there is a right-hander into a left to a short chute. The only thing I can think of is if he lost traction exiting the right-hander and cut the left-hand corner to get that kind of a penalty. As you see the rear end of Harry slipping out again. Falcon went really wide out into the curving, but was able to hold traction, so this has allowed Decky now to build over a 2-second, almost 2.5-second lead, and the battle for second is heating up. Falcon is right on the back of Harry. Lewis right on the back of Falcon. We've got a 3-car battle. Lee is about a 2.5 seconds. Not in contention at the moment yet. If these guys start mixing it up, somebody has issues. Lee back there in 5th place will be able to close up real quick. Michael continuing to fall behind. Like I said, we were checking for wing damage. Nothing apparent, but he made a move on Lee, and he did contact the wall. From my camera angle, I thought it was wheel contact on the wall, but he may have clipped an end pan. Alright, let's go to the back. So Mitch has made 2 overtakes. He's gotten around Smithy and Yari. Now he's on the back of Maxi. As this backpack is really tight right now. We see Maxi is about a 1.5 seconds behind Spine for 9th. And then we've got 5 cars all within, 6 cars all within a second. So we've got some tight action going on in the back of the pack now. Actually, Big C, in Maxi's case, it would be if he qualified, period. He was the only driver not to get a lap in, unfortunately. So he started dead last. He's up 8 spots, so he's had a good start to this race, but he's under heavy, heavy heat right now as Mitch is all over the rear. Matter of fact, we're going to jump on board with McLaren. Last time we did this, he wasn't able to overtake Smithy for a couple laps, but let's see if... Alright, there we go. Our race leader, defending champion Decky, he just took back the fastest lap of the race right now. He's got a nice clean track in front of him, just able to run any line he wants, just going full out right now. Almost a 3-second gap back to Harry. Harry, who's going to face a 5-second stop and go if he comes into pit to change tires. Alright, here we go. Coming off turn 5, this will be prime passing opportunity. Mitch trying to get a better run than Maxi. There's no DRS to help him down this long straight. Maybe a little bit of slipstream, but obviously it won't be as strong in these wet conditions. He's taking a look, locks him up a little bit. Maxi's going to hold the spot for now. Let's move back up. Lewis on the back of Falcon. Falcon's falling a little bit back of Harry, but you see they're still right there, all on the same camera screen. Lewis trying to attack the Renault, trying to get that podium spot right now. So hard to pass here at Singapore, especially in these conditions. So anytime that you get a chance, you have to take it, and that's what Lewis is looking for right now. He's looking for that chance. Let's fall back to Michael. Still under attack from Riku and Neo. Questioning if that Mercedes has a little bit of wing damage. We saw it right there with Michael. That's what it's going to take to really be able to take advantage of an overtake opportunity. Is the car in front of you has to have some wheel spin. That rear end needs to whip out a little bit, lose that traction, and take advantage of it. Which actually, alright, it looked like Riku had a little bit of wheel spin, and I thought Neo was trying to swing out wide to maybe get a run down the front stretch, but Neo may have just had even more wheel spin and he was catching it. Got a couple pitters in the back. Spine gave up. Actually, Spine was up in 8th place. So he gave up 8th place to pit. Killer Blue is in. Gary now has a 3-second penalty for track limits. Gary back in 13th place. We had an issue up front. Decky had an issue. It was a 3-second gap that's now down to under 2. On board, the wing seems to be intact, so I don't know if it was contacted with the wall, maybe just had a ton of wheel spin on a corner exit and just had to really let up and catch it. Allow Harry to get a second back. Harry's starting to pull away from Falcon again. Now it's over a 1.5 seconds. Falcon's still under attack from Louis. currently in 5th place in the Toro Rosso. Pretty much running a race of his own right now. He's fallen back about 2 1/4 seconds of Louis. Is still within range if those guys slip up. But oh, there we go. Riku finally made it happen. He got around Michael. Neo tried to take advantage of it, but it wasn't quite there. Ferrari all on the back of the Mercedes now. Oh no! Oh, we just saw the debris. It looked like Neo just got into the back of Michael. And yes, there is front wing damage for Neo. So some tough break for the Ferrari driver. And Michael's in. And I'm surprised that with that damage, Neo is going to stay out another lap. Also, too, 2nd place, Harry. He is coming in the pits. We saw that he had to wait there for 5 seconds to serve the penalty. The intermediates are on. Let's jump and look at tires right now. So Harry and Michael both jumped on the intermediates. Killer, when he pitted a few laps ago, hopped on intermediates as well. Now this could be huge for Harry because he, like I said, he lost it 5 full seconds, maybe even more, because of that penalty, and we had a Sector 2 yellow. All right, let's go through the cameras real quick. I believe that was actually just Calix serving blue flags, getting it out of the way. All right. But if these guys stay out for a couple more laps, and Harry is significantly quicker on these intermediates, that'll give him a chance to try to get back into the battle for the win. And then with Michael's pit stop as well, we know Harry had a decent gap over Michael going in, but he had the 5-second penalty. Michael being 11 seconds back, that had to have been a wing change as well. So that would make sense for the Mercedes driver why he was lacking a little speed earlier. And then, here we go, another 5-second stop penalty, this time for Yai. And Yai retired. That's going to be it for the Force India driver. The car pulls off to the side, and it's going to go to pit road. Yai now leaves the session. Unfortunately, this game has a bug that glitches out slipstreams when a driver leaves the session. However, in these conditions, there wasn't much of a slipstream to begin with, so shouldn't have too big an effect. Decky now. Still out there. Falcon over almost 4.5 seconds behind Decky. Still has Lewis breathing down his neck. Mitch now just made a move on Neo. Neo has that wing damage. Neo was behind Riku there for a while, but has definitely fallen back. We saw the debris fly, so it was significant wing damage. So Mitch qualified second. Was part of a 3 wide in turn 5 on lap 1. Got a turn, went all the way to last, and now is working his way back up to 6th. While he might not be the hard charger of the race from qualifying to, final race position standpoint, Mitch definitely is passing the most cars in this race, without a doubt. Still on the attack with Falcon. It's been this way pretty much the entire race right now. We're about a third into the race. See Decky 4.5 seconds out up front. And now Neo struggling with the wing, and on top of it just got 3 seconds. I really, really think that we're going to see Neo in this time around. That car is just struggling way too much right now. Let's go to the back of the pack, Yari right now. He's got mirrors full of Maxi and Smithy. 3 cars battling it out for 8th place. McLaren, Force India, and Red Bull. Keeping an eye on the leaderboard. See when our leaders decide to pit. Actually, here's what we're going to do real quick. Let us jump to our race directory. Last lap, Decky ran a 58.7. Let's go find Harry on the intermediates. hold on. We've got to give Harry just a few moments. He has not completed a full fast lap yet. He just had that out lap. Actually, here he goes to the line. So we'll see if Harry actually sets fast lap of the race on these intermediates. That'll tell us how fast he is. No, he did not. Let's jump back in the directory. Over 2 minutes still. Intermediates does not seem to be the right call right now. He was 4 seconds slower that lap. Matter of fact, let's hop on board here in turn 5. Yeah, just tons of wheel spin happening on these intermediate tires. So unfortunately, Harry, Michael, Killer Blue, they all try to get on the intermediates early, and it's not working out for them right now. And Harry knew it. Harry made the wrong call on the tires, and that cost him any shot he had in the race. So he went ahead, peeled off the Toro Rosso, went to the runoff area and parked it. That's going to be our second DNF. We've had 2 retirees this race. Neither one for wrecking, though, which is very surprising here at Singapore. Decky, 4 seconds over Falcon. Falcon. As a matter of fact, so Michael as well. Michael went ahead and parked his Mercedes. He was on the intermediates. Wrong call. Went ahead and parked it. No shot at the podium in this race. So 3 retirees, all due to, well, yeah, I guess he had multiple pit stops. That was his, but Michael and Harry, due to just wrong strategy calls, took him out of contention for this race. We just saw Mitch run the fastest lap of the race right now. 6th place, trying to chase down Riku for 5th. He's got a ways to go. Got a Sector 3 yellow. Let's pan through real quick. I believe it would have been for Kalik for as slow as he was right there. Kalik on the intermediates and just has no traction right now at all. So that Sauber is struggling. It was just 4 seconds, so I'm assuming Falcon may have had a little bit of slip up because Decky just gained a second at that time that we were going through the field. Lewis has been on the back of Falcon this entire race, but still is yet to find that spot. Yet to be there when Falcon makes a little slip up to try to make this overtake. Really, right now, we only have 2 battles for position going on. Between Lewis trying to chase down Falcon, and then back in the pack, we have Maxi and Smithy trying to make a move on Yari. 3 cars battling it out for 5th. Or excuse me, for 8th, and then 2 cars battling it out for 2nd. Maxi right now still the hard charger of the race. Remember, he did not set a qualifying lap. Started dead last. Now he's worked his way up to 9th. And a little salt on the wound for Kalik. Issues exiting pit road. Oh, that was huge. Lewis just got a 3-second penalty. Decky just took back the fastest lap as well. The track is starting to dry out a little bit now. See the car's getting a little bit faster. Alright, here we go. Mid-pack, Maxi and Smithy. They were trying to attack Yari. They decided to go ahead and pit. New set of wets. Neither driver flirting with the intermediates, learning from the mistakes of others, staying on wet conditions. Or wet tires in these conditions, excuse me. So at this point now, Louis... Really, if Louis wants to... Oh, one moment here, we had a Sector 2 yellow. That's going to be Kalik again. That Sauber is just not having fun right now, even with the full wets back on the car. There we go. Louis looking to the inside of Falcon. They're drag racing down the short chute. Falcon's got there's a little bit of tire touch there. Falcon with the preferred line. He's going to be able to hold off, defend his position, stays in second place. That was huge for Louis. He needed to be able to make that pass stick. Because now Lee is caught up to the back of these guys. Louis does have a 3-second penalty going against his time, so he's got to get around Falcon and he's got to build up a gap. Preferably for him, a gap like Decky has right now, as Falcon is definitely having issues. The guys are bunching up behind him. Decky is almost an 8-second lead. Your defending champion is just checking out of this race right now. Just under halfway through, and then we had a little matrix there by Caleb in the back. Alright, Lee was running 5th for most of this race, gained position when Harry pitted. Now finds himself in a battle for 2nd. He's right behind Louis. Falling back just a little bit on the DRS straight. Other penalties starting to come through. This time V5 found himself with 3 seconds. Neo pit, and he is staying on the full wets. And actually, this works out for Maxi and Smithy. They were attacking Neo before the pit stops. The undercut worked for him. They were able to get around him when Neo made his stop, so. Let's go back up to battle for 2nd place. Lewis still attacking Falcon. Lee's still right there. The Renault, the Haas, the Toro Rosso. Actually, we're going to jump on board with Falcon real quick. No apparent wing damage for Falcon, but his speed has definitely dropped off. Returns 2021. Alright, Lewis is jumping into pits. He's going to go for an undercut. See if he can get one lap. Now, the thing with Lewis is he's got to come out no traffic. This will determine the battle for 2nd place. He's got to come out with no traffic and be able to push these tires and be able to get around Falcon when Falcon makes his pit stop. The full wet stay on. New set of blue tires. Fish as well. Your number 2 qualifier. After racing his way up through the field, gets himself a fresh set of tires. Falls back to 8th place. Alright, this is what Lewis wanted to see. He's exited the pits and he's got a lot of clean racetrack in front of him. Matter of fact, he is 7 seconds behind Yarn. And the only lap car, Kalik, I don't think is anywhere around this area either. So this is going to work out for Lewis. Now it's all on Falcon. If Falcon could put in a fast lap and try to cover that gap when he has to make that pit stop. Leaf fell back a little bit. About a 1.5 seconds behind Falcon. Coming around the hairpin. Coming up to Sector 3. We'll see if our Renault in 2nd place. Is he going to pit this time? Try to prevent as much of an undercut as possible from Lewis. Into the bay section, underneath the grandstands. Will Falcon pit this time around? Oh, we're gonna have to. Alright, that was just driver's decision to retire there. It was not a wreck, and Falcon is in, not a shocker. Alright, now remember, Lewis has a 3-second penalty, so he needs to get out in front of Falcon, and he needs to go. In the Bay Area right now. Falcon just now getting his tires. Oh, Smithy now with a 5-second. He'll have to serve that in the pits. Tough break for Smithy. All right, here we go. Here's the race. Falcon coming out. We saw Lewis right there. Lewis with a strong run. Can he clear him? Yes! Gives second place to the Haas. Now it's one thing to get around him. Now he's got to run away from him. As actually Maxi is just taking... Now Neo has taken the fastest lap of the race. We got fresh tires. Track's drying out a little bit. We're seeing other guys starting to go purple. Now Lewis now needs to run away from Falcon. He's got that 3-second penalty. And up front, Decky right now just running smooth. Almost an 11-second gap actually in second place. At this point, Decky can pick whenever he wants to come in and pit. He's about has this race split in half. Keep an eye on the Red Bull. Hasn't had a lot of camera time, considering he's been leading the entire race right now. So we'll see as we're reaching the halfway point of this race. Is he just going to go ahead and cut the race in half and pit? And yes, he is. Got a Sector 3 yellow. Let's go through the field real quick. And unfortunately, Caleb, I don't know if that was Caleb losing it again or just getting out of the way to circle the flags. But still, we have yet to have, that huge accident, which is great to see, especially on such a track in these conditions. All right, with that pit stop, this is the first time today that Decky has given up the lead. So Lee is going to inherit the lead in the Toro Rosso. He still needs to make his pit stop. There you go, Lewis now setting the fastest lap of the race. Starting to pull away from Falcon a little bit. He's got almost the second gap now. Let's go to the back. Spine, Smithy, and Neo continuing that 3-car battle for 8th place. This time Neo is in the back of the pack instead of leading it. Got Yari a second and a half back with McLaren. They slip up, he'll look to make it a 4-car battle. It's really this group right here is the only battle for positions we have going on right now. It's everybody's kind of spread out a little bit due to pit stops. Maxi currently plus 11 right now in 7th place. He is almost 4 seconds ahead of the battle as Neo makes a look to the inside of Smithy. And the Ferrari's going to do it. Move Neo up to P9. Smithy trying to see if he can counterattack. No play there. Neo now trying to chase down Spine. See if he can take over 8th place as the drivers enter the hairpin. You see Yari closing up more and more now. Oh, Yari. Yari was a major wheel spin, but looked like he was able to keep it off the wall. That's super, super close, though. Lewis, again, fastest lap of the race. 57th lap this time around. Actually, now Mitch just went ahead and took the fastest lap of the race, breaking into the 56 for the first time. Yari losing a little traction there on the curbing. Falls back a car length or two. We'll jump on the Ferrari Neo as he starts attacking Spine. Neo's car is hooked up right now. Ferrari is definitely moving. But it's so difficult to try to pass in these conditions. But, just that little bit of tire spin right there cost him a chance to get a run on Spine. But he's still going to look. He's getting a little bit of help from Slipstream. He's looking to the inside of turn 7. Spine's still on the outside. Spine's going to have the preferred corner. Neo is able to hold the outside, so now Neo has the preferred line going in. And now the Ferrari will clear the Williams driver. So nice battle. Oh no, Smithy! There was a nice battle we had between the Ferrari and Williams, and then right behind we saw Smithy, a little bit of tire spin on corner exit. Smacked the wall. We saw a little chunk of end panel come up there, so now the Red Bull, a little bit of a busted wing. Though holding close. We'll see how it's able to hold up as this race continues. Mitch now on the back of Riku. Earlier there was it was over 4 seconds between Mitch and Riku, so Mitch is just on a tear right now. Covered that distance pretty quickly, but catching somebody and passing somebody are two different things, so we'll see what happens. Turn 5. Can Mitch set up a run to turn 7? Go with a couple car lengths. Nope, too much tire spin for Mitch. And Rico looked like he had a pretty good exit off of 5 as well, so that combination is going to keep Mitch in 6 right now. Mitch trying to close in. Get close enough so that way if Rico has a mistake, a little bit too much tire spin, flips a curve, he'll be there to make the overtake. Coming up on the hairpin now. Rico still has several car lengths advantage. Mitch is not going to be able to try to make a move in, just trying to close the gap. We notice so Neo now has pretty much checked out of that battle for 8. Spine and 9th is over 2.5 seconds back, but he's still getting pressure from Smithy and Yari. So we'll see how this battle plays out for 5th place, and we'll jump back and check out that battle for 9th. Through the Bay Area, as your leader, Decky, just now set the fastest lap of the race. And Lewis actually just clipped him. So 56.5 now. That's the purple standard. Lewis about 5 seconds behind Decky. That's your battle for the lead because Lee is going to have to pit at some point. Whoa! Big issues for Mitch. Just had to completely bail on it. Make sure he went slow enough so the game didn't penalize him. Didn't gain a position, so just a little mistake there. But nothing of penalty note. Alright, as he fell back a little bit. Let's go ahead and check in now. So Spine actually has some breathing room over Smithy, and this might be due to that wing damage finally catching up to Smithy. Yari is second behind, trying to close in on the Red Bull. As they're starting to fan out, let's go ahead and jump back up with Mitch. The battle for 5th. And we'll keep an eye on the leaderboard, see when Lee is going to make his pit stop. Alright, Killer Blue is already a DNF, just leaving the session. 4 DNFs this race, none of them due to wrecks. Harabelle, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciated. Alright, none of our DNFs were due to wrecks. He had a tough early race, called it quits. Michael and Harry gambled on intermediate tires and just pretty much threw the race away from there because there are no safety cars in this game. Unfortunately, the safety cars are bugged, so no safety cars to try to bail them out there. So they retired, and then Killer Blue retired as well. So Mitch now making a pit stop. He must have had some wing damage that I wasn't aware of, because he already made the pit stop for tires. He should have been... Oh, he's coming in for intermediates. So we keep seeing the fastest lap of the race get broken lap after lap. The track is drying out a little bit. Now we're going to keep an eye on Mitch. Is the intermediates the right call? It's still a pretty decent rain. You know, there's a little bit of a dry line forming, but we're still seeing some decent puddles on the track. Just wondering if intermediates are the right call right now. So Mitch drops down to 10th place, comes out of the pits right in front of Yari. Got some sector 2 yellows. I don't see anybody falling down the leaderboard. So it may have been Kalik just moving out of the way to serve blue flags. Mitch? No. Mitch is done. Mitch is done. Intermediates was the wrong call. So your second place qualifier fell down the last, raced his way back up the pack, and now is retired from this session. Still incredibly too wet for intermediates. So that'll be DNF number 5. And the third DNF due to a wrong tire call. Alright, Lee, there we go. Oh no, excuse me. Camera tricked me there. That was the Sauber of Caleb going into this. Lee staying out in the Toro Rosso. 2/3 through this race. He's still on those original tires. He's got 8.5 seconds over Decky. And Kalik now calling in quicks. So 6 DNFs, none due to wrecks. Though Kalik did have multiple incidents, but did not wreck out. And actually, Magnet, this is not a league points event. This is a special ERace with a bit of a money prize in on it. So only the winner gets paid out. And at that point, Mitch gambled and lost on his tire strategy. So he went ahead and parked it. He had no shot. Yep, there's €50 PSN gift card on the line for this race. Currently, Lee out in the lead, but he has not pitted. He is still on those original wets. Decky won the pole, pretty much led the race the entire time up until his pit stop. And at this point, he is significantly quicker than Lee too, so if Lee is trying not to pit and make those tires last the whole way, I still feel like Decky's going to be able to chase him down. And then we have Lewis in 3rd place, who is just as fast as Decky. It's been hanging around this 5-second delta between Decky and Lewis this whole time. And Lewis, remember, he has that 3-second penalty, but he is completely checked out for Falcon. It's now 6 seconds back to 4th place, so that 3-second penalty is completely covered. We have issues with Smithy. That's going to be it for the Red Bull. I believe he had more contact with the wall. Yari and Gary got around him, and he is going to park it. So high attrition rate, as that is now retiree number 7. And again, none due to accidents. Which is completely insane, considering it's Singapore. Decky now, going purple. Improving on his previous lap by under 1/10 of a second, but it was enough to set the fastest lap of the race. Louis still holding strong though. Decky now has it down to 6.5 seconds behind Lee. Go to the race directory real quick. We did this earlier. Let's look at the laps. Last time by, Lee, 58.6. And then we saw with Decky, that 56.4. So it'll be just a couple laps, maybe 3 or 4 laps. Actually, just 3 laps, and Decky is going to have it covered. He'll be on the back of Lee. We'll see the battle between the Toro Rosso and the Red Bull. Another battle now for 6th place. Mackie, he's got Neo all up in his mirrors right now. Neo has been fast ever since that pit stop. I believe he's overtaken 4 cars already. Trying to make it 5. But Neo's got to be careful. We saw him bust off a chunk of that wing earlier. riding that close to somebody, so he doesn't want to do it again at this point. Clearly faster than Maxi, so he's got to set him up. Coming to the hairpin. Oh, Maxi got a curb. That's what Neo needed. Now the drag race begins, but the Ferrari had the traction early and just blew by the Force India. So give Neo 6th place. Maxi trying to hang in close, see if he can make a return move, but not happening yet. Lewis now just took the purple lap, 56.42. They're not blowing their lap times away, but lap after lap they're getting faster. The track is starting to dry out just a touch. Not enough for intermediates to come into play like we saw a couple guys flirt with, but just enough to keep these guys pushing to the limits. There we go, and Neo now starting to pull away from Maxi. So 6th place is looking secure. Though that might be it for Neo unless anybody else has some issues, as he is 21 seconds behind Riku for 5th place. We have a late pit stop going on. Spine in the Williams. Gave up 8th place. One last set of wets, and he's out. No wing change, that pit stop was due to tire wear. Spines falls to 11th place, last car running right now. So Lewis still ever so slightly, just not even tenths, just ticking off hundredths off of Decky. It's a 4.5 second gap to Decky. Decky now 4 seconds behind lead. So we're looking at 2 more laps or so, and this Red Bull is going to be all over the back of that Toro Rosso. And actually, that's what I would guess that's what Lewis wants to see right now, is have Decky catch lead and see if those guys duke it out. If they have issues, Lewis is able to close that gap. But also, too, Lewis still has that 3-second penalty, so he's got to be careful. Can't afford to take any more penalties. Right now, he definitely has a podium spot very secure, but there we go, a 56.22. Last time he had a 2.4. This time's a 2.2. And Falcon is out. Not sure what happened with the Renault there. He quit before, so that was not a wreck. But Falcon giving up 4th place and parking his Renault, and that's going to put Riku up to 4th now. You see him, Decky in the background. That Red Bull starting to inch closer and closer, starting to stalk that Toro Rosso. And definitely old school. I had mentioned that earlier. V5 was the runner-up in the D2 points, so huge shout out to him. Finds himself +6 right now. Not the hard charger, that still goes to Maxi, who started last, but V5 winning the war of attrition right now. Not the fastest car, but he has a car going to the end. That's what matters. Now down 2.5 seconds, the battle for the lead. Louis now has his gap down to just over 4 seconds. So he's hoping that Decky gets held up pretty bad by Lee to see if Lewis can cover that gap. Now a 1.5 seconds. We're hopping on board with the Red Bull. He's going to get to the back of that Toro Rosso before the end of this lap. It's just a matter of where he catches him. Can he make a pass early, or is it going to be an elongated battle? Yeah, Lee has had some good pace in this race, but Lee did not hit. He has stayed on those original set of wet tires. That's how he was able to get the lead over Decky, but now Decky chasing him down. These tires are completely worn out. He is going to have to do the defending of his life if he wants to win this race. 0.7 of a second. Coming up to the bridge and then the hairpin. Decky a little bit too far back to make a move. Still just closing in. 10th by 10th. Oh, too much wheel spin there for Decky. That's going to protect Lee down this straightaway. Alright, with Decky not being able to run 100% right now, we're looking back to the gap to Louis. That's already dropped a half second. It was 4 seconds at the beginning of this lap. Now it's 3.5. So Lewis starting to close in now, trying to make it a 3-car battle for the lead. He needs a lead to keep defending. If Decky can clear Lee quickly, that'll be the race. Coming onto the pit straight. Start lap number 26. Got 6 more laps to go. At that time, Louis improved on his fastest lap by 2/100ths of a second. Each lap, the track dries out just a fraction of a second more. I would guess that's probably about the 25th time we've seen the fastest lap of the race get set. I feel like we went a chunk of laps there where it stayed the same, and then we had multiple guys setting the fastest lap of the race on the same lap. Decky all over, looking to the outside. Nothing there, just trying to make some peaks right now, but he knows he cannot stay stuck behind Lee for too long. Lewis now 2.5 back. Decky just taking a peek to the inside, seeing if he can break Lee's concentration. Mark, thank you so much for the follow, very much appreciated. As we head on to the hairpin. We saw Decky swing out a little wide, trying to make sure, see if he could get a strong run down this straight. Not exactly there, still had a little bit of wheel spin. Lee is going to be safe yet again. And we hop on board with the Haas of Lewis. There it is. This is now a 3-car battle for the lead. Lewis is just a 1.5 seconds behind Decky. But Decky continuing to get slowed up by Lee. Our leader in the Toro Rosso, Lee, again, on his original tires. They are extremely worn out. He's had good pace, but there's only so much you can do on tires that have no more grip to them. But he's doing everything he can to try to hold on to this lead as we come up to 5 laps to go, this time crossing the line. Old School, thank you for the follow as well, my man. Very much appreciated. 5 to go. Now, one thing we have to keep remembering is that Lewis has that 3-second penalty for corner cuts. So he may cross the line first, but could lose the win based on that penalty. The top 3 cars all within a second. Saw that time Lee taking the protective line, covering the inside, forcing Decky to the outside. Lee is able to hold on to that position. Decky now starting to get a little bit, I wouldn't say desperate, maybe a little bit impatient, knowing that the Haas has closed the gap and is right on his tail. Maybe he's not aware of the 3-second penalty for Lewis, but Decky now knows there's 50 euros on the line for that PSN card. He does not want to lose out on it. He's riding high from winning the championship last week. Wants a little bit of icing on the cake. Still nothing happening after the hairpin or the straightaway. And Macca, thank you so much for the follow as well. Very much appreciated. Into Sector 3. into the base section underneath the grandstands. I have a feeling, unless they clearly, you might not have any more fastest laps in the race set up right now. Alright, hopping up to Decky. Lee doing that protective line to the inside. Nothing there for Decky. Oh, Lee with a little bit of slip. Decky cannot stick the nose in there. He's going to hold on to the position for now. Lewis right behind. After this race spanning out for a long time, here we go with roughly 3.5 laps to go. A 3-car battle for the lead. Just absolutely amazing the way this race is working out now. K-Dog, I got that feeling too, as close as these guys are. Whoa! Lee with big time wheel spin! Decky didn't look into the outside. Oh, Lewis tried to stick the nose in there, make it 3 wide, couldn't make it stick. Decky has the preferred line. Alright, Lewis is trying to make it work. Doesn't quite have the wheel overtake. Lee is... Oh, wow, late break. Late break from Lewis, but that's going to get him around Lee. So Decky has taken the lead back. Lewis is right on his tail now. Lee is pretty much out of contention unless our top 2 guys take him out. Or take out each other, excuse me. Lee is on terribly old tires. You can look. See, look at Lewis's. You see the treads. These are gone. There's no treads left on those bad boys. Going all 31s on the same pair of tires. So hats off to Lee for taking that strategy. Decky, our pole sitter, takes the lead back. He's got Lewis right behind him. Now remember, even before Decky caught Lee, Lewis was the fastest car, not by much. A couple hundreds. But he was the faster car. It's going to take something... Alright, we see Decky now. Starting to look at a little bit of a defensive line. Unless Decky gets a 3-second penalty of his own, it's going to take something insanely brave, albeit maybe something a little bit stupid to make a move to get around the Red Bull. We'll see what happens as Ricky... I don't know how I feel about that. Ricky just got a 3-second penalty for corner cuts and then set the fastest lap of the race. So, I mean, hats off to the Sauber driver, but we'll see. Just 0.3 separate our top 2. Not even a car length between them. We have 2.5 laps in this race. A race that has seen these conditions the entire time. While the track has maybe dried up in spots just a touch, never seen the intermediate tires work. We have a couple guys gamble on them and lose badly due to that gamble. Right on his tail. Great run out of the hairpin. But in these conditions, the slipstream, though, really not strong. No DRS on that straightaway. Lewis took a peek. Didn't stick it in there, just kind of peeked there, though. Decky holding strong. I think at this point, even if Lewis knows he has that 3-second penalty and may not get the win, just the pride of crossing the line first, though, I think that's probably what's on the mind of this Haas driver as we come up to 2 to go next time by. Whoa, little bit. Lewis has got to watch out before he gets another 3-second penalty. It completely eliminates any hope for a win. I mean, earlier I was saying I wouldn't call it desperation, it was more so impatience by Decky wanting to get around Lee. The way Lewis is stacking those corners, that might be a little bit of desperation. Great run out of 5. Great run out of 5. We've got a drag race down the DRS straight. The Red Bull's going to have the preferred line going into turn 7, though. Tire on tire touch as Louis tried to come in a little bit tight there. Still side by side. Louis pinching up a little bit. As the Red Bull cleared, Decky took a look, just nothing was there. Now he's chasing the Haas driver. Coming up to the hairpin. Nothing there quite yet. Was able to get an extra car length between himself and Decky. And with this, we'll give a shout out. We have another battle starting to form, but we have to keep the camera up on our leaders right now. Spine is just about a half second behind Maxi. It's about a second behind V5. So coming up on the closing laps, we could see a 3-car battle start to form out for 7th place there. We'll keep an eye on that. And also, too, Riku has now closed the gap on Lee. He is within a second for the bottom step of the podium. You see our top 4 are all on the pit straight together. Riku has been on a tear in this final stage of the race. Alright. Lewis starting to pull away a little bit. He's got 0.7 of a second, but he has that 3-second penalty just sitting there staring at him in the face. But the pride of crossing the line first. The gap staying actually about 0.7 to 0.8 of a second, bouncing back a little bit. Actually, we got side-by-side action. So the Sauber of Ricky looking to the outside, couldn't make it stick on Lee. He's able to defend, holding 3rd right now. Your battle of the lead going through the hairpin. Lewis is still up front, and he's got several car lengths. He's looking good right now. Lee protecting the inside. Ooh, Riku looking for an over-under. Could not quite make it stick there on the exit of the hairpin, but he's got to run. He's going to look to the outside. Lee protecting that inside. They're still wheel-to-wheel. Alright. Riku is still going to have... Whoa, he runs him wide! He ran him wide. So Lee with some tough defending there. Riku had to back out of it a little bit to hold it off. And here we go. We got to jump back up as we're coming off the final 2 corners. Lewis is going to hit the line first. The Haas driver going to cross the line P1. But then when the penalty gets added in, it's going to be your champion Decky taking the win here at the ERace. Oh no! Oh no! Riku put everything he had into the last corner, but he did cross the line though. So Riku did cross the line. The Sauber is smashed up. He will get credit for 4th place. Lee, gutsy call, stayed on the original tires. Karen, thank you so much for the follow. Is able to grab a podium on the no pit strategy. Congratulations to Lee. Lewis raced his guts out. Just that penalty came out into play there at the end. He went +5. Neo crosses the line. He had a strong car at the end. He'll round out your top 5. Gary going +6 on the race right now. You see the fireworks flying in the background as the wheeling driver crosses the line. And here we go. Spine all over the back of Maxi. Oh no, Spine had issues. That's actually going to give V5 up to 8th place. Spine caught curbing. Wheel spin, couldn't hold it. Maxi aims for the busted up Riku. So now we've got to force India dead on the pit straight as well. And then Spine comes up to the slaughter and has no idea what he's doing. So the AI just pulls off to the side. Absolutely insane last lap here of the PRL's special presentation ERace, sponsored by Vortex Racing. Drivers taking the podiums now. The Red Bull, the champion, Decky, the top spot. Lewis in the Haas on the second step, even though he crossed the line first. 3-second penalty came into play. And then the Toro Rosso Lee no pitted to take that final step of the podium and had to do some tough, intense defending there at the end of the race. And there it's official. So that 3-second penalty was the deciding factor. Rico's fourth. That was Neo in fifth. But shout out to Sebastian Vettel anyway. Gary in sixth, Maxi seventh, V5 taking eighth on the. Actually, with 3 turns to go. Spine was in eighth, made a move for seventh. Too much curb, too much wheel spin. He'll end up ninth. And then, I think that was Yari was the McLaren there to round out the top 10, the final car running, and then the load of DNFs. Though none of them were due to accidents. It was all just drivers retiring because of bad races or wrong pit stop. We had guys experiment, gamble, try to take the intermediates. It absolutely did not work at all. And there you have it, folks. What a race. Went an hour and 1 minute and 28 seconds. Alright, give me one moment here. We're going to see what we can do about getting Decky in party chat.
Good game, everyone. Some really fast players. Well done to you, Decky.
Thanks.
Alright.
Yeah.
Let's create the party real quick. And alright, let's see if we get our race winner in here. And there he is, folks. Decky, my man. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
No
you.
problem. Actually, before we get started with this interview, do you have your voice shared in the party settings? Okay.
Yes, just activated.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about this, my man. So you were clutch in qualifying. We thought originally that was going to be the key to the race. You took pole 8. Right behind you off the start of the race, they went 3 wide into turn 5, and that was the end of Mitch, pretty much. And you were able to break away there, and then things then got exciting for you at the very end. Let's talk about it.
Obviously at the start, like, it was a bit of carnage, but I think it was all fair. I reckon Mitch was like the guy to beat anyway in this race. So when he was kind of out of it, it just opened the chance for everyone else. And then towards the end, I didn't even know you can pull off the 0 stop.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how much did that take you by surprise, seeing Lee go with that strategy?
Like, I didn't expect him, I didn't expect anyone to do that. I'm not gonna lie. I knew you could, like, percentage-wise, you could probably do it, but I didn't reckon anyone would do it, so it really surprised me. And then, like, when I came behind him, Jesus, I thought I couldn't overtake him at all. Like, it was so hard in those conditions without slipstream to overtake. And then, like, I went round his outside, got a bit of wing damage as well there. So I knew Lewis would come up behind me, but he has a penalty.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were aware that Lewis had that penalty. Okay, so that's why you kind of backed off and took it a little easy on that last lap. Because that was a... I wouldn't say it was dirty, but, I mean, that was a pretty aggressive braking move he did there to take the spot from you.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the only way
Yeah,
to
it
get
was.
past, really.
Yeah, to your point, just no
to the
DRS, no
kind
anything
of
really.
dive
Oh.
bomb. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But so talk about it. Like this is gotta be a little bit of icing on the cake for you as you claimed the championship last week. Now you've got the €50 PSN card coming your way. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty solid week, my man.
Yes, it really is. It really is, man.
Awesome. Well, any shout outs you'd like to throw out there for everybody in Twitch or?
Shout out to Lewis. He really put up a fight this race, and like to all the drivers who turned up. GG to everyone.
Definitely. And also, too, so you guys are going to have, what is it, about a month off, and then the new game comes out. So what's this month going to be for you? Are you going to try to keep yourself fresh playing the game, or take a little bit of a break and then have some fresh eyes come 2018?
I'll go on holiday, and after that, Black Ops 4 beta comes out. We'll probably play that.
Good times.
Yeah.
Well, Decky, my man, I just got to give you huge props. You've been on a tear lately. Like I said, you got the championship, and you really ran an amazing race tonight. It got a little bit closer than what you were hoping it would there at the end, but I mean, that was championship composer to know your surroundings and, you know, how to really navigate there at the end, man. So hats off. Beautiful drive by you.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
And thank you for commentating.
No, it was my pleasure. So I will say this. I apologize to all the drivers out there. Some of you guys have some very weird names, so if I butchered it, my bad. And I think I went between Lewis and Louis pretty much the whole race. So my bad out there. But Twitch, go ahead. Let's get it in chat. Send out the congratulations to Decky. Awesome drive tonight, my man.